So based on the motivation generated during the prayer of refuge and bodhicitta, we can now engage in a meditation practice. So just as a reminder that by going for refuge, it ensures that we are protected from following into the wrong path, mistaken or wrong paths. So that's when we take refuge in the three jewels. It ensures that we are sort of committed to follow the righteous path as presented by the Buddhist and the Buddhist teachings, in accordance with the Buddhist teachings. So then, generating refuge is to ensure to protect one from following the lesser path, and so thus by generating the bodhicitta motivation, it establishes one into engaging in what we call the Mahayana or great vehicles path. So that having that in mind. With that understanding and generating those thoughts in our mind as much as possible, it will then ensure that our practice becomes an actual Dharma practice. Otherwise, just by focusing our mind inward, will not necessarily ensure that it becomes a Dharma practice.
Ni dingen zel jeto ate ni ni ba thai jua anzo ni dingen zel je fa ji dingen zel ni fa ji no ja la ta mo su se de ni ku mu de de sa ra ma che on dingen ye men ta ga re ye dingen zel de ni fa ji no wa ro mi dingen zel no ya bo ne dingen zel ni ba to ge de ni dingen zel ngo ba je thong jua de ya pa shi ge ro sha.
So thus making one's meditation practice, most worthwhile and most, really in accordance with Dharma practice is something that we need to, need to establish. So as the teachings present that for those who develop concentration, on the process of developing concentration, reach significant level, even their sleep can be transformed into meditative concentration. So whereas, of course, for us or ordinary beings, we find that as beginners, it's actually the other way around. That our attempt to meditate, or to develop meditative concentration actually turns into sleep. So. So I don't want to get too sidetracked, but the main point again is that the main point I'm emphasizing here is that when we make attempts to engage in meditation practice, it is most essential that we ensure that those attempts we make to meditate becomes an actual Dhamma practice, becomes a real meditation practice, and becomes a Dhamma practice. So thus then makes it every attempt we make, it becomes worthwhile, becomes really worthwhile. So that is really the main point. So with that we can now engage in our meditation, regular meditation.
no down the mate. Round the other. Other Kangi. No, that's Yabu, Goyabuja. Yabushera was Kangi. And Boyapujano. Yabushera those. Sorry.
So, yeah, so that's so if we can meditate in this way with right proper way, then it becomes very meaningful.
Wrong shoulder, Lama Tonto Jichungonada, so you do Cargonada, Gonada. That teenage, never got then, send you do not day for them. Mazepilo Shubi, no way, take Mazep, Mazep Lotti, Mazep Lotti, Chanded. No, do not the Chanded. They are then they shoot up a laying then, never tell you, that their charge here can do so. Sana, and it will have Fago attention. Yapo, no detail gone Yapo, and thing other Shomba indication, young Pala, Kumbendo, Chocho, easy, shows you long years and that is the natural, and I don't let them show you seven, and your language natural, and there is that. I think I should done that in red.
So, so this meditation practice, it is really worthwhile to engage in periodically in our spare time, not leaving it only to the practice done here, but during just before our session, but in fact. Whenever one has time to do this practice would be really very beneficial. The most optimum way to increase love and compassion in one's heart. So, in a formal practice, this would be done. If possible, to visualize on top of one's crown. First of all, one can envision all sentient beings surrounding oneself in the form of a human aspect. All beings from all 6 realms, but in a human aspect surrounding oneself. And so on top of one's crown, one can visualize either one's guru, who's inseparable with all the Buddhas, or Buddha Shakyamuni, the image of Buddha Shakyamuni itself, Buddha himself. So in whatever one is comfortable with, what we know at whatever time, one can do that visualization with the Buddha on top of one's crown. And then one sort of makes a sort of supplication, a strong aspiration to the Buddhas and one's gurus to bless one's continuum to be able to engage in this practice in the most meaningful way. So through the blessings, then when one actually engages in the practice, it is good to spend some time, first of all, thinking about the plight of the sentient beings that surround oneself, that are experiencing numerous different types of sufferings and being deprived of happiness. So contemplating that to some extent, one tries to develop a real sense of that it is unbearable to it's unbearable to how should we say, to witness that suffering of sentient beings and then being deprived of happiness. So at that level, when one becomes unbearable, then the mind of wanting to take sort of some responsibility of being able to alleviate the suffering of sentient beings and endow them in happiness can be generated. Then based on that, one then does the actual practice of taking in their sufferings and then giving one's own happiness to them. So that is the giving and the taking and giving practice. So in this way, then the practice becomes really meaningful. So thus, as mentioned earlier, really becomes an optimum practice to further increase love and compassion in our heart, and very meaningful practice to do.
다네 너도 다 대지하고 시바지 한번 저러서 집어 제저서 내년에다 쇼만이 이제 고만 하지 치제지만 타쟁년에다 쇼만 이제 야보면 내년에 치자 수수섬도 땡데 주삼도다.
So one may attempt to, one may sort of, how should you say, have a lofty sort of idea of doing grand practices, but really, if one misses the point of if one misses the element of love and compassion, then definitely it cannot establish the very basis of our Dharma practice. One could safely say that the very basis of real Dharma practice is cultivation of love and compassion. So without that, then any other practice does not really become a real Dharma practice.
Losang Yeshe, keso saji lo se de ni so da Yeshe de shene lo se Yeshe de shene lo gi ba de ten do ne da she Losang Yeshe ni saji keso dress wa saji so ni wa so ni ga ya to saji so de ma de ten an de za.
So now following from the earlier category, the second from the earlier, which the first was establishing, I forgot the English point here, but the second is the actual presentation of how to train in calm abiding. So the first was, so the second is the actual presentation of training, how to train in calm abiding, and this has three subheadings. So which being relying on the collections, for calm abiding, and how to meditate on calm abiding, the benefits of calm abiding meditation. It's a legend, and the children, the lawyer, Abunia, the lawyer, Georgia, so that is the Tagoza, Tomo, you know, the Baba Shah last on the thought, you know, the Baba Shah, she, Shana, send the TV, send the Shana drop ocean. That is, then you know the Baba Shah. Send the churches and the Shana Joga Revesh and Joga Maria, so thus, as what is presented, so what is presented here as a means for developing calm abiding is actually, very meticulously presented. Many of the points which are presented here, as you would notice, are points that I have been raising, I have been mentioning previously. So here, what I've been sort of like mentioning casually, sort of randomly before, we can be seen here that is actually precisely the points which are being presented here as a means for developing calm abiding. So the first being here is that how should we say, relying on the collections for calm abiding. So this here, the collections, as also in the translation here is made in parentheses, in brackets is mentioned favorable conditions or circumstances. So indeed, it is the causes. It's really the causes for developing calm abiding. And so, as will be emphasized, pointed out later, without first gathering the favorable or the necessary conditions, or what is known here as the collections for developing calm abiding, even if one were to make an attempt to develop calm abiding for 1,000 years. One will not be able to achieve that. So thus, as the commentary then further mentions, in the earlier verse, which is verse 37, it says that one of the lines is, therefore make repeated effort. So having mentioned that earlier, then the commentary now, as a way to explain the next verse, presents this hypothetical question: does it mean that just making effort is sufficient to achieve calm abiding? So then that is the point which, as I was mentioning earlier, that just making effort in itself for developing calm abiding is not sufficient, because as it mentions here, to emphasize the significance of relying on the collections of calm abiding, then it further says, so and thus, as it presented here, the next verse reads, while the conditions for calm abiding are incomplete, meditative stabilization will not be accomplished even if one meditates strenuously for 1,000 years. So thus maintaining well the conditions mentioned in the collections of meditative stabilization. So first of all, this is quoted, the verse is quoted. So thus, so as the commentary further explains, that thus maintaining well the conditions mentioned in the collections of meditative stabilization chapter, Tromdumba then says that when the meditative concentration doesn't arise, we get frustrated and lose interest in thinking that why it is not arising despite our effort in looking for the pith instructions, and blame not finding the instructions, as that is the only thing that matters. And then it further explains that in fact the blame goes not to being not being able to find ourselves, not being able to find ourselves in the collections for calm abiding. Then the commentary further explains that similarly Potawa also said, we're not able to gain the concentration because of having not seriously taken into account the gathering of the collections for the concentration.
너가 런슈야래 예다쟁에는 한다 명화자 가가 유치원이 제지 되지 명화 장가를 지르마저 모두 저제 지르마 명화 되랬어 예 지르마 명화사 로스가 가야 말라 신내 등격이 유마셰야인다 바바 통해서는 선남한테 내 지금 마셰야지 되네 되지 명화 될 맞대니 아도 명화 레슨이다 차바 요지 생활수 요수스 전에 연소 전에 애란 초 넘바 연비 전에 잡이 라든 베테스 진짜데 라든 베 론나 뜬다 타게 파다 뭐바 시죠 전에 제 띵엔전 잡아 먼저로스 야자 애라 녀나 전에 먼저바 계셔 애라 노라제 레바제 내시 드니 띵엔제 샤바샤오 전에 다된.
So then furthermore it explains that yet we blame it on not finding a pith instruction and just keep looking for such an instruction, just such as an instruction relying on a pure celibate mudra as a means to rise meditative concentration. Yeah. So here, so these are really the points that I've also mentioned previously of looking for some sort of alternative instruction when all the instruction has been already presented in the teaching, such as His Holiness the Dalai Lama mentions often that to leaving aside the looking and studying the 18 volumes of Lama Tsongkhapa's teachings, then leaving that aside and looking for yet another pith instruction is completely missing the point. So indeed, Lama Tsongkhapa's what Lama Tsongkhapa has presented in his teachings, which are compiled into the 18 volumes, is in fact consists of instructions and means and methods which are passed down from the great earlier masters such as Asanga and Shantideva and so forth. So these so thus there's not, if there is any whatever methods and pith instructions are to be found within these collections of these teachings, and then so thus leaving that aside and assuming to think that one should be finding another pith instruction is really completely missing the point. That is what is being presented here. So then furthermore, as it continues to explain that hence if the limbs of calm abiding, the collections of favorable conditions are paralyzed or degenerated, then even if one vigorously and energetically meditates for 1,000 of years, so this is the explanation of the earlier the meaning of the verse, one wouldn't be able to achieve the concentration of calm abiding. With the decline of its limbs, it is impossible to achieve calm abiding.
Yala no leba neshi jana dinga de sheba xiao sen yala ta yala ta sun xie re yala de leba neshi neni tene soni neni tene dinga jie ge re de ta yala yo ta ba ya bo jin tang sa ngene shene da chu go na shene de so ba ka shi nua ten ge ne de yala ma za da chu go chen de ma de 파지 로티 건 걸라데 티 메마 마시바레 카이 셴네 건게는 더 자지레 실라디 아니 라이바 나 다투 건 셴네 건게 다투 바 자지렌 주스 저마 알 장고 테마 치고 되들레 대응이라 그 뒤사레 코카바르 셴네 거선 뒤사레 인라 아레 다지마 다쇼아니 데라디 근데 뭔데 안게네 내 아포 산도가 뭐데 근데 유 과레 맞잖아 다트 신내거나 신내 시에를 세지고 생계 고사를 가르라. 저 신내 열랑 소비 고사 지금 내는 자 거나 땡대 아부 건 다트건 땡대 신내 저기 산데 그러. 열랑 만선 대다 로 알 다트 화 로팅라 이나 고면 라서 They are put on the Yagan. Then other you to pass and you let them on the woman, you that too, and Kajikol Khan, the young, and then that's a much of
So, as commentary concludes here, therefore, one should establish and abide well in the limbs, which again are the favorable conditions, to cultivate meditative concentration. So here, this is really the essential point to really understand that for someone who is keen in wanting to develop calm abiding, the optimum of the meditative concentration, then one needs to ensure that one has all the favorable conditions. What is called the limbs here, in the collections of the limbs. So this, of course, we can go through later on. So here, when all the limbs are, how should we say, we can say the favorable conditions are all intact, then it is possible for someone who's when all the favorable conditions are intact, for someone then to go based on having all of these favorable conditions intact, goes into a serious meditation practice, then it is possible, as the teachings present, to develop calm abiding within a short period of time, as short as 6 months. It is possible, or otherwise, some longer period. But it is definitely possible to achieve, even in this life, the calm abiding. So, however, if the favorable conditions which are known here, which are presented here as the limbs or the collections, are missing, then, as the teaching itself presents, even if one were to attempt to meditate, put effort for 1,000 years, one will not be able to develop calm abiding. So these are really important points to keep in mind, because otherwise, there are some who have claimed that they've went into retreat meditation for 6 months, to develop calm abiding, but then when they come out of it, they actually completely lost faith and said, I didn't develop calm abiding. So what the teachings present is not correct, is incorrect. And so then that is the danger of that it may occur if one is not really goes in with a proper preparation and having all of these conditions intact. So, and thus, there's also been cases where some have attempted to develop meditative concentration, going on in retreat, but then at the end, far from developing meditative concentration, they come out, and even apparently they were ordained sangha. They even gave up their vows and led a very ordinary lives. So thus, having heard about these accounts, when someone once mentioned to me that when asked about after someone, and I was told, oh, they've gone off to do meditative went in a retreat to develop meditative concentration, I sort of made this comment like, oh, that's not a very good sign. So thus, really care needs to be taken here, and how it is presented. Someone who presents the instructions and the methods for developing calm abiding needs to be mindful and careful of how it is presented, so that it is understood properly by the listeners. That even if the listeners also misunderstand or misinterpret or don't get a full comprehensive understanding of the whole method, then with a partial instruction, these faults can arise. So therefore, it is we need to have that, be mindful of that, be cautious of that. So this just reminds me of so when Majola has been sort of checking in with me about his retreats occasionally. So at one point he I had advised him that it would be good for you to really look and read into the sections about how to develop calm abiding, what the necessary conditions are, and so forth. So then, after some time, so he kind of wrote back to me saying that, I've heard that I will make every attempt to actually to meditate on developing calm abiding, because I've heard that it could be possible even in 6 months. So I didn't respond right away, but I sort of my immediate sort of thought which came into my mind is, I guess even if you tried 100 years, it might not be possible. So the main thing which I said, of course, was what I did say, although I didn't say that, the main thing what I said was it is important to ensure that all the conditions as presented teachings are intact. So then the commentary then further explains, now what are the limbs mentioned in the chapter of the collected samadhi? So because it mentions here earlier that in the meditative concentration, the sutra called the chapter on meditative collection, it mentions the limbs, so that is what is being asked here. So thus in presenting this, the commentary explains, in the commentary, so that is on the chapter of the collected samadhi, in the commentary it is said that the limbs refer to those mentioned in the Arya Buddha-Bharta's collected samadhi, such as those limbs which are to be abandoned, to be preceded, certain limbs which are to be prevented, of cutting off from torment, emerging of the mind, remembering the qualities. Then I think this is listed separately. So remembering the qualities, and another one is worth putting effort into, and then combining together, and then the means of abiding. So then here it further mentions that since the translator Gewe Lotu Chu, who translated this and who directly received teachings from Cho, I think it's Atisha, so Sharawa concluded that the limbs refer to all those mentioned in the Savraka Bhumi by Sangha, and in the beginning of the Avalokiteshvara Sadhana, those mentioned by Buddha Bharta and those mentioned in the Sutra of Collected Samadhi. So yeah, this is what is presented. No. No.
Yesanese, Papa to Yesanese, Vesala Sopala, Babasha the Kachimore, Sushi said. Deadless of a Shoronia, Shani, George, just about 20 to the Gimme Jones. That's all, no? That, so you must say, Gimme to touching the
So then it further mentions here in the commentary that my omniscient guru, so this is referring to the author's, the commentary's author, Chizin Shui Gyaltsen's own, Losang Penjin Losang's own teacher, Lama Tsongkhapa, referring. So it refers to Lama Tsongkhapa, saying that so thus my omniscient guru said that those who wholeheartedly wish to achieve the samadhi of calm abiding and special insight should strive hard in the 13 limbs of collections for calm abiding as described in the Savaraka Bhumi. So this is also also corresponds to what is also presented in the extensive how should we say, the Lamrim Chimo, the great treatise. And then mentioned further here, it mentions the 13 are not actually listed here. And then, so in line with that, Shangrom also stated that it is although it is necessary to gather those 13, there are 4 main branches which are indispensable to acquire. So the 4 are pure morality, less desire, contentment, and solitude, a solitude place. So these are, as presented here, what are, like in essence, the main should we say, conditions.
The Koral Majana and Rogan so I Jebana Zoning in Lauren the Martin, then also, Kawacharos and the Horong every other, not all lawyers, Jena, Lord Chambo, Dang got the upper, Shalani, Shalani, give it, Shalani, pair to one master, Halia Church, there's a lot on the upper.
So thus, as it is not all of these conditions are, besides the condensed 4 here, the others are not listed specifically. So I was thinking to present that as according to as it is presented in the Liberation Palm of Your Hands. Actually, of course, the Lamrim Chimo, the great treatise on the stages of the pattern enlightenment by Lama Tsongkhapa, has very good detailed explanations, beginning with the benefits of developed calm abiding, and then the prerequisites, and then actually the conditions which are required. So all of these are presented in such detail. So of course, if it'll be very good for you to refer to those teaching, that text, and try to familiarize with that. Be good.
Pajama, Tan Shangar Sachi said, Yamaro Sachin Royal, Dama Sachin Royal, is a dinner Mother Siena, which never the Apungana, Goja the Apushing, is that then dinner nation that Sote more Chanel Lancer, Shira, then Hanso Lances, I sorted more Chanel Lances, true, Chanel just told them by Chanel Jensen, Tella Jenny, Senega. Dressa, their thought to win, Delu, Tella, Yensa, Telly, Shene, me, Shensa, loss, my treating done. They have something. That's
so that's the. So again, as as mentioned earlier, while the Lamrim Chimo has a very detailed explanation, my attempt here was to just refer to the liberation palm of your hands, because it is actually quite simply presented, and also I have also presented to the older students. I've already actually went through this, covered these points when teaching the actual whole text once previously, so it will be like as a reminder for those who have already heard it before. And then also on a personal level, I've taken like real personal interest in studying the liberation palm of your hands. When I was back in Tibet, I had only like a handwritten sort of manuscript of the liberation palm of your hand, and then I received teaching on it while I was in Tibet once, and then of course in more recent times I received it from His Holiness the Dalai Lama when he was teaching it in India, and so then of course having read it and to present it to you, I've gone also through it myself completely. So I might have related to some of you previously already, but just to share my personal sort of my endeavors in really gaining some understanding of this text during a time when, of course, my personal situation was very poor, difficult. Like when I was in Tibet. So this is when I was living in Sera Monastery, studying Sera Monastery, when the teachings was being given in Lhasa. I think there's about I don't know, the distance between Sera and Lhasa could have been 5, 6, or 7 miles or kilometers, not too sure, but quite a distance. So I would have to walk down every day, every morning, and I didn't have even proper shoes to wear. And of course my clothing was very, very ragged and poor. My even appearance would have been looking very, what's the word in English? Very sort of malnourished and poor looking too. So I would go down, however, every morning, come back in the evening, and every day until the teachings ended. That's how I would go about and getting receiving those teachings. So in those times, while I had put under such difficult circumstances, what I feel is that it had been all worthwhile, because having put the energy and time then to receive these teachings has then definitely benefited my mind. And so for many years to come, I found that it has been a great, served me a great purpose. So I do recall at that time one source of comfort was, next to me in the teachings was a nun, and she seemed to be quite from a well-off, quite a well-to-do. She was having a mandala set, which was actually golden mandala set. So she, seeing my condition, would give me some food during the teachings and take care of me a bit. So that was some source of comfort. So I would have been maybe 21 or 22 years of age, and so it was a period of time where I had really taken upon all the difficult circumstances for my, to try to put it into my practice, my path, and really taken on those hardships. So of course, while having great interest and having really studied and learned about also particularly this topic of karma abiding, I cannot claim I have developed karma abiding now, and that would be none other than because the conditions were not met for me to develop karma abiding.
다 이나 치등이 천년접이 가도 시 터져서 못 뺐대. 야, 이거는 스페드 괜찮게는 라지 삼다나.
So it is quite
넌 산데래다. 년년지 봐서 년지 발려다 신내대. 아주 다지면 내놓아. 니 가진다.
so this the how should we say this teaching on particularly on calm abiding was on the 21st day of the teaching. So then the calm abiding itself would have taken again quite a number of days. So altogether, no.
21人は
No.
ご自在で他点比较朗通가서 산다 샤부 가져서 봐 샤부 년 장안 진이 사서
강가 돈배 송원이
강사다 제가 로르진 로른 정마샤 로른 녀로요 녀로 데로요 로주 천장 홀아요 아 되는 몸이 다다시 근데 레스 다다시 다시 는 인사 하고
So it would have, yeah, so that being the 21st day, then they are following a few more days. So I think altogether, just for this particular teaching, the teaching of the lamp of the path, liberation in the palm of your hand, took about 25 or something days. You can see in the text how much days it took. But then besides this teaching, there was also other teachings which were presented at the same time, such as some other, the swift path, I think, and of the teaching also the wheel of sharp weapons, and then a few other teachings at the same time. So altogether it would have taken like over a month. So it was during this time that I was going back and forth as mentioned earlier. So however, one thing to just think, when I think about it, the whole circumstances, how should we say, one peculiar thing I think I would say is that when at a time, my early life, and going and receiving these teachings was a time when I was very impoverished and poor, as I said earlier, hardly had enough to eat sometimes. However, now in presenting these teachings myself, I'm in externally very good conditions. The conditions are very good and everything's really good for me.
Yeah. That's today abunda ngi kari nga soya ngi jeze nga lama de chila jeze teba jeze ya ngi ngani chil ngi nga teba ya lama ne teba ya kesi isa de kari re nga soya ngi re sa
so that's I feel that the condition that my life has taken such a course and a turn for the better in just general conditions, and that I have been able to sustain my practice and so forth is something that I feel definitely comes because of the early on strong faith I had in the Dharma. I had strong faith in the Dharma. I had a strong faith in the teacher, the presenter, the teacher, and so I feel like that is definitely that the good conditions I experience now is definitely a result of that state of mind and the endeavors I took at that time. So that's something sort of maybe noteworthy.
Dela teni senega dressasa chene dragre ngi dragre senega ngi chene ngi dragre dressasa deta ta chugin ya senega ta chugin dresa ta tela yeje ye yensasa tene tele tene chene ngi ta yensasa le ta tene ma yeje.
So thus we can see that how it is meticulously presented here in the text. The calm abiding is presented with these 6 main topics. So the 6 being as listed here. The 6 headings here are the first, cultivating the prerequisites for mental quiescence. So here it's called, the translation uses mental quiescence for calm abiding. So then the next is the actual way to achieve mental quiescence. Taking this way as the basis, how to achieve the 9 mental states. or the which refers to 9 stages of development. And then the fourth is the way the mental states are achieved through the 6 powers. And the fifth is how there are 4 types of mental processes. And then the sixth is the way true mental quiescence develops from this point.
That thing is the discussion, such a room of my discussion. In the Sandal, Yapang up of one the JTS and you come cut it, then do the jet, shutting on that, then do the jet, cut it. Yes, I said. Then God Pavano, you know, John Dej come, Patin Dej come, God Pavano is up. The tenny with the eye, shall discuss Jajan, telling me she was dead from Marvet. No logic, I think one man. Ten more logic, I call a match, 10 patches. What I tell you with it. Tenny, that's loving.
So, what I feel is that having presented these headings now, I feel that if you were to, go over the text and through in a discussion as a group together, go over these texts, and mainly referring to, like, for example, the first one includes the cultivation of the prerequisites for the mental quiescence, so dwelling in a conducive place and having few wants and so forth. So these are presented under that as well. So that heading. So to need not go into elaborately all of the text, but maybe just the main headings and the main points under that. If you could just go through that first by yourselves, then when I present it later in a teaching later, you'll be able to all relate to it. Have a better understanding.
Yeah, how about such a new body? She then into the Yapang of wind the Geshe, the Yapu, none, the Yapu, and their mother. Pa, Jambiti Pa, the then she gets Taras, Gaba Taras, a teddy Panga Yapu, she not. The Yapu are taking more machine. I need some about the favor of Kavandu Hakom. I discuss Jana and Sandy.
So then also particularly on the second heading, which is the actual way to achieve mental quiescence, will have that being also a very most important point, also has definitely then to overcome what is called the five faults and applying the 6 antidotes. And so these are really the points to understand well. What is also mentioned, translated here, is abandoning the five pitfalls or 5 faults or pitfalls, then applying the antidotes for overcoming them. So this would be to familiarize with this. The main point is really for us to have a good understanding, to familiarize with these points. Then, on the basis of a good understanding, then it establishes what we call, a basis for us to further develop ourselves. So develop. So that's how I feel. What do you think? Is that a good suggestion, or would you rather me just go through the text now?
Devachu, Chushibas, Shamovin, then the use of Santa Tapas, Devalusubi, Motochin, use Puma, yes, they come angel jagged. Is that the nation and so upon Toson, Thunder. Santa Nova Tapas, Sierra, Santa Nova Tapas, men, she never touching in it. Thing and Mibala, mother. Said Yabu Manet Tajek Yaned Kamachin Nana Manan Manet Tajek Yaned. Pada Jamal children them discussing Jamang Mate Yapu.
So thus here on also the second point, how to train cultivating the prerequisites for mental quiescence. That under this point, under this heading, then is the further subdivisions, which then includes really the what we call the essence for all the limps or the conducive conditions or the necessary conditions we need to have, such as the 6 which are listed here: dwelling in a conducive place, having few wants, being content, having few wants or having less desire, and then being content, completely abandoning the many demands of society. That's also translated in some as to refrain oneself from the hustle and bustle of the worldly life. And then having pure ethics, and then completely abandoning conceptual thoughts such as desire. So all of these being most essential, one of the points here, really having pure ethics, is really one of the most essential points and basis for developing meditative concentration. So really without having pure ethics, or having really good basis of morality, definitely meditative concentration cannot be really achieved. One may be able to focus maybe for a minute or two, but beyond that, one will definitely not be able to achieve what we call actual sound meditative single-pointed meditative concentration. So these are really the points to keep So, and thus then further on, under the heading of the actual way to achieve mental quiescence, then the text here the quotes from Maitreya's, Maitreya's distinguishing between the extremes and the middle way, and summarizes the points here by quote in a verse which says, "Abandon 5 pitfalls, cultivate 8 adjustments, and that will cause you to achieve it." So this is clear, and then so the first 2 lines here present the actual cause for achieving mental quiescence is to abandon the 5 pitfalls, or also translated in some texts as the faults, and cultivate the 8 adjustments, or also in some other texts known as the antidotes. So then further on in this quote, in this verse, it mentions, "I claim the 5 pitfalls are laziness, forgetting the instruction, excitement, and dullness." And again here, just to note that this translation uses dullness, where some other translations use laxity. Then the next is non-adjustment, and then readjustment. And some translations use non-application and reapplication. So basically this is the same. So thus these are, in your discussion, these are the main points to cover. How should we say, cultivating the prerequisites for mental quiescence, and which I listed earlier, the 6 are which are dwelling in a conducive place and so forth. So these, and then the how should we say, the actual way to achieve mental quiescence, which are summarized in that verse which I quoted earlier. So these are 2 main points that you can, in your next session, you can do the discussion, and then following that, following discussion the Tuesday after that, I can continue to present.
Gelana and get your heart, then the manager that she can't do it. Go on, I get you at the China.
No, I come get you.
She's thanking you, I can. Dennis and Judy can measure that she can't do it.
So you might have, of course, you've got. I think Dennis was, it'll be good to maybe lead a meditation first, or just lead the prayers and the meditation, then follow that with the discussion. So I guess you already have a format that you do, and so it's good to follow to just do that. So these outlines which I presented now is in accordance to the liberation in the palm of your hands. So if you have that, you can bring that and read that. But also for those who do not have liberation in the palm of hand, but otherwise may have access to the Namrim Chimo, the great treatise, essentially the same points are there as well. So just whatever text you use. So otherwise you may also find it on the internet. Everyone's talking about the internet these days. So that's if you if you are keen in looking on the internet, then may as well use it for finding things on the Dharma. If you can find reliable sources, then that will be a good thing to find. Look on.
So well, most girlfriend, boyfriend, all that. Listen, maybe few years ago, no, lots of that did it. There's new son didn't it. The Nijiga, somebody Nijman, one children or something, one get that. Children doesn't get a check it.
So that's if we consider ourselves as people who are interested in the Dharma and wishing to practice the Dharma, then that is how we should spend our time most worthwhile in looking and researching in Dharma things, Dharma material, and most importantly spending most of one's time in a virtuous way, and Dharma in accordance to the Dharma. Then that will be in accordance to our commitment to practice Dharma or follow the Dharma, because otherwise, if we spend most of our time in pursuing worldly distractions, then we will not find really opportunity to have a settled mind, a calm and happy mind. That the more time you spend following, pursuing the worldly distractions, the more agitation, more excitement, agitation, and more agony it causes in the mind. So therefore, if one wishes for really a calm and happy mind, then the most worthwhile, the best way to pursue that is by ensuring that we spend as much as time as possible in the Dharma, thinking about the Dharma and pursuing the Dharma, understanding and so forth. So that is really something we need to be mindful of.
되네. 가자. 세먼다 손든 레몬다스. 코 다단 되죠. 되네. 다다 슈진제. 로. 제제라스 되네. 거의 자. 거의 자. 거의 전에 레세 제도 대도 좀 통사 거의 전에 레세 대도 좀 통생에 못 봐라는 거 대표적으로 저런 현대 최고 맞게 가시 돈을 냈어. 대당 한도 현대 이거 가시 지대가 가시 돈을 내 조금 돼와. 세모 다세네 대한 손을 내면은 손소를 지는데요 맞아. 밀라 소를 뭐는데요. 마켓 소를 뭐 강한데 용은데 되래 유저진데 유저지 쇼절반 개노였어. 개노아 너제 혀로고 진 레도 세니고 다 통그랬어. 얘는 내가 레센 다 못하고 대화랑에는 대 너제 레세 간로고 레센이 따는 데서 문제야. 세트는 내는 선발 셔라 다다도 몸에 로테면 마시고지 수샤자든
So one of the great Kadamba masters, Geshe was not sure exactly which one. One of the Kadamba masters has this quote, which again I failed to translate the actual quote, but the main essence of the point is in the first few lines also, which says basically the meaning of this first lines is we all don't strive to just have an enjoyable time, but rather look upon striving in pursuing, how should we say, a virtuous mind, or taking some endeavor to engage in practice. So the point here is that we all naturally wish to just like have an enjoyable time, good time, but then that may then undermine our mind of willingly taking upon some difficulty and effort for the purpose of practice of the Dharma. So therefore, the advice really is here, the instruction here is, while we may naturally have this mind of just wanting to have a leisurely time, good time, that if we're not mindful, then that can undermine our pursuit for real Dharma practice. So then he further on to emphasize this point, the need for that Dharma practice, he goes on to explain a few lines where it says, where it gives analogies, illustrations of how basically of impermanence, which is that just as like in the market you might have like many people gathered at one time, after all of that hustle and bustle and gathering, after a certain period of time, everyone disperses their own way and everything becomes completely quiet. That earlier point where there was so much activity and like a lot of commotion going on, was suddenly now it's all completely quiet. So similarly, he relates that to our life, which is that he's saying that our life is similarly like that. We are just right now in with our body and within our body now, but very soon you will have to depart from this body, and then that is the nature of our existence. So it's actually a reminder of death and impermanence. That is definitely so. So that is so that being the case. Then the encouragement here his impetus here is to actually thus needing to spend one's time worthwhile and in pursuing the Dharma.
같이 돼. 같이 해야 돼. 나 이제 거래 돼. 자초 못다. 손든 되면 나서. 서 자초 세지 못다 봐. 손든 못다 봐. 손든 노지래. 손든 마켓에서 마치는 거 근데 이다 저러 세바제 파티 제리 또 그거 말해 되나 잘은 그랬지
Then there are again similar lines from other Kadama masters, and it's also like Padamba Sangye also mentions in one of his in his works, in a few lines he also mentions about particular advice to the couples. He says don't sort of waste too much time on having arguments and conflicts, because the separation will take place just like as a meeting does. So just as when you have a meeting, that's after a few hours the meeting finishes, so similarly your time together will naturally end. There'll be a separation.
That's it.
So this particular advice Padama Sangye was giving was actually addressed to the people of Tingri. So at the end he says, you Tingri Buzz, follow this advice or instruction. So Geshe was just remembering that a few, like I think just on the Tara the exhibition night, we met up with some other Tibetans who were visiting from Switzerland, one of them being a brother of one of the Rinpoches who lives here, Zatu Rinpoche. He's not a monk, and so anyway, so he said he was his brother. He said he's from Dingri, from this Dingri. So there are many such verses which I used to know by heart, like Padama Sangye has this very, very meticulous and So I used to know quite a few of these verses by heart, which just by reciting them used to give really sort of some, how should I say, give some consolation. What's the word in English? Consolation or consoling my mind. Really helpful, because these are very poignant, very poignant sort of words. So I'm pretty sure there are translations of such verses from the Kadama masters. I think there is a collected works of the Kadama masters. Sorry, 12 jewels. Okay. Kadamba ki song dene kashi gyurshawa de benzogan denshawa shidosa. Damsala ki benzogan ne Kadamba ki dene song shawa dene dan.
Su toba Su toba kazu kijins.
Song toba de.
Su toba sa jiyar. Yeah.
Yeah, there's also the collected works of the Kadambas. That is, I've heard, is translated. So. So I once mentioned about the Chenga was for means or ways, methods for developing patience. That is also comes from that text as well, collected. So there are like very so in these Kadamba masters' works there are some very what's the word you use in English, very pointed or quintessential or advice which really hits the chords in one's heart. So these are such as there's this one point where it was mentioning one during a teaching, one Lama was giving this teaching and mentioning about how this is not a time to actually be giving teachings to others, but rather it's a time to be subduing one's own mind. So this actually point was just after mentioning that, then reading that, and sort of like started to really cry and couldn't give the teaching then at that time. And then the next time again attempt to give teaching, but the same thing happened. So and then and then also then further it mentions also in this on the same works where it says it is not a time to try to go out and help others, benefit others. Is rather a time to subdue one's own mind. So these are really this very significant points about how without first having subdued one's mind, there's no possible way to try to go out and help subdue others' minds. So these are like really pointed sort of advice. So then also in the same sort of collected works, this is actually advised by Atisha, but is also in those collected works where it says such as from the collected works, but so as Atisha mentioned in this advice, again quintessential advice where it says that the pith advice, the pith instruction is to look at one's own mind. The best friend is cultivating mindfulness in introspection, and the best knowledge or the best quality or best knowledge is to benefiting others. So these are again very sort of like meticulous and, how should we say, essential points which are presented just in a few lines. Particularly for our Dharma practitioners, that, mindfulness and introspection being our best friend is really a pith instruction. So in fact, many people have, when hearing this, have made comments that that really is a very sound, very helpful sort of advice for a very practical and important advice. So that earlier quote that Geshe is quoting now again, it's from Tum Tempa. So yeah, the earlier quote which Geshe just quoted now and saying that I just sometimes read this quote and relate it to myself, where it actually says, you don't think about having enjoyable time, but rather spend your time for putting effort into the practice, the Dharma practice. So and then also talking about how your life is impermanent, just like a gathering in a in a marketplace where it will end. So also your life will end, and so forth. So there's a few lines under this, which just reciting it and thinking and contemplating on it. Just earlier today, I was thinking about these points, which remind me to share it here. So these are. So the main point again is that also mentioned earlier, Geshe was saying that these sayings are not just saying it's like being, how should we say, trying to use some smart words to try to impress others and at all. It is really from their own practice that these Kadama masters, from their own experience and practice and what they have realized as from having engaged in the practice and teachings themselves, then they bring out really what moves their own mind. They say it out as an expression. So thus when we repeat it and think about the meaning, will definitely help our own mind. So so indeed, really contemplating on these words, which particularly to reminders of our own fragility of life and how we have to be, that our own imminent death is something which really is, how should we say, significant, because it is the reality. We have to experience separation from our body. So when that actually does occur, whenever the time comes, if we have had prior acquaintance with that reality and some preparation in our mind, then it can be willingly accepted. It will not cause great agony and fear and agony in one's mind. So that's definitely there is a significance to think about these points. So then so that's really at the time when one is in great distress, particularly at the time, the crucial time when we have to leave our bodies behind. That is the time when, as mentioned in the teachings, our friends cannot help, our wealth and so forth cannot help. The only thing can help at that time is the Dhamma practice that we have cultivated in our own mind. And so therefore that is a really significant point that to recall, to remember. So now we can do the recitation of a Tara praise first. Sue Fondingham? No. So I think she's going under some treatment now. You're going some treatment. Anxiety. Anxious. So I happened to meet Sue a few days ago, and she was just relaying up how she's feeling very anxious of having to go under this treatment. And I don't know if she understood much of my English, but I was trying to console her and tell her that it's okay, let's just have a calm mind, settle down, and of course we do prayers. So indeed, sometimes we seem to be really holding on to a preconception that we will definitely have to experience anxiety or this disturbed state of mind. But if we already pre-decide that is going to be the case, then we are already preparing ourselves to be in that state of mind. So that's why I was saying, trying to give her a different perspective, that it is possible to have a calm mind. It is, don't try to think about being anxious and all of that. That you would be anxious at that time, or you would feel anxiety at that time. If you just focus on Tara and just doing your prayers, definitely your mind can settle down and you'll be fine. So this is indeed this situation where if we can just have a way of looking at a different way and try to remind ourselves of the Dhamma practice, how should we say, the relying on the deity and doing some prayer from our minds, then definitely things can be much more manageable. One can deal with it more easily. So thus we dedicate for her. So dedicate for whatever treatment she needs to go through, that it may all be successful and that have good outcome.
Page 13. From your sublime abode at the Patala, O Tara, born from the green letter Tam, your crown adorned with Amitabha, action mother of the Buddhas of the 3 times, come with your retinue, I beg you. The gods and demigods bow their crowns to your lotus feet, O Tara. You who rescue all who are destitute, to you, Mother Tara, I pay homage. Om Jetsu Ma Pamadro Ma Chatsalo Chatsadro Ma Nyuma Pamo Cheni Keche Londandra Ma